As a former People's Progressive Party member by card and youth-arm chairman, I could no longer in good conscience continue to support the party after giving of unwavering support for over 2 decades. I believe today that the PPP, the leaders in the party today, are more inclined to do business rather than attend to the welfare of the people and the citizens. The leaders of today are more interested in owning or co-owning businesses. And for that, because they are no longer leaders of a party but businessmen or women, they've earned themselves a name as a kleptocracy government. As I said, over the years, more than 2 decades, I have given support to the party in many ways and forms. For those of you who remember the 5 months of 2020 when there were attempts to derail, there were persons on the front line. Prior to that, who will know me from 2011 to 15 as the PRO of the Baraka IMC under the president of Mr. Ramazar, the former president. And my name is not one that should be missed. I'm just looking for faces that I don't, I'm not seeing faces that I do remember. However, to all Guyanese at home and in the diaspora, the international and diplomatic community, the trade union movement of our country, the private sector commission, religious organizations, and civil organizations, I do wish to commit as founder and leader of the United Workers' Party to a peaceful, nonviolent, and respectful approach in my confrontation to the People's Progressive Party. The PPP and the PNC have dominated and controlled politics in Guyana for more than 58 years, almost 60 years. And crime remains a runaway train. Corruption is now a pandemic at all levels of the government, including state agencies at the central level and the local level. And so, because of that, I joined today with the hundreds of thousands of Guyanese who are literally fed up and who believe today, and I wish to say this unapologetically, that the PPP and the PNC is now expired goods. They're no longer good for our country. The two main political parties that have dominated the political scene is now expired goods. They've outlived their usefulness to the people of this country and to Guyana. Some of the things that our party will be pushing for in opposition and while in government, I believe that what we are announcing here today is achievable within the first 100 days of being elected into office and to being in government as a party. Today marks good news for the working class of Guyanese in both the private and public sector and for the poor. Without hesitation, I wish to say this: the United Workers' Party, once we are elected into office, the following are just some of the things that the Guyanese people can be assured of. One, there will be policy shift, both domestic and foreign policy shift. All public servants to be paid bi-weekly instead of monthly currently. A government-managed domestic airline services to honor our first people will be in operation under the Workers' Party in government. Americans traveling in and out of the hinterlands will be able to travel free, while Guyanese to tourist destination will enjoy subsidized prices from the government-managed airline service. Pay-as-you-earn, PAY, is to be reviewed as far as possible to ensure that some of the burden are eased on the working class of Guyanese. To supplement the income of all working class Guyanese in the private and public sector, the National Insurance Scheme minimum qualification of 750 contributions will be reduced to facilitate this process of being qualified. So while on the job, all working class Guyanese will have access to half of their NIS and other benefits while on the job. When they retire, they will get their full amount in terms of benefits. The long-awaited age of pension will be reduced. The age of retirement will be increased. As part of a first 100-day plan in office when elected, dry ration and grocery vouchers will be introduced quarterly. All loans to the commercial banks under $2 million Guyanese dollars will attract no interest on that amount. All loans for educational, housing, and medical purposes, the government will subsidize the interest on those loans borrowed for those three categories: housing, educational, and medical purposes. And these are the amount: $3 million for medical purposes, education is $4.7, and housing $30 million. So on those three categories of loan to the commercial banks, the government, the Workers' Party, government, and while in office, we will ensure that the loans for these three categories the interests have been subsidized by the government. A duty and tax-free day will be announced for all Guyanese at home and in the diaspora. The United Workers' Party will subsidize all diaspora Guyanese wanting to come home. Airfares will be subsidized by the government to up to a family member and friends of 12 persons. So if Guyanese in the diaspora wants to come home, whether it's for vacation, for private purposes, or for holidays, all airfares for Guyanese returning home, wherever part of the globe they are in the diaspora, the Workers' Party and government will subsidize all airfares for their and their families and friends coming. As part of our 100-day plans in office, a counter-referendum will be held within the first 100 days of being elected into office on the Essequibo. All attempts by Venezuela and our neighbor to intimidate, to annex the Essequibo from Guyana, we will be asking Guyanese to vote to reject and to object to any attempts by Venezuela to annex the Essequibo. The Federation of Independent Trade Union, FITOG, and GTUC, the Guyana Trade Congress, will be dismantled within the first 100 days. Currently, they are dividing the workers. On Labor Day, you have workers going to GTUC, which is perceived to be the opposition PNC, and then you have FITOG, which is the Federation of Independent Trade Unions, and you have that is perceived to be a PPP and pro-government. And so I believe that as a trade unionist turned politician, within the first 100 days, I'm going to dismantle two umbrella union bodies. There will be no two different rallies, PPP rally and PNC rally on Labor Day. It's a workers' day, and we show our appreciation. There will be one rally attended by the president and the opposition leader. So I want to assure the working class, currently the two mass parties are dividing the workers on Labor Day. And it is for this reason I will call in the president and the PPP one policy initiative, because it is for that reason the current administration of PPP cannot attend rallies on Labor Day. What the current president has done, he chose to call a breakfast in the morning and that's it. Because currently the PPP cannot attend FITOG, which is perceived to be pro-PPP, and not go to GTUs, which is proposed to be or perceived to be PNC. So the president has not been able to attend these rallies because it is dividing the workers. He can go to FITOG and not go to GTUC. So within the first 100 days, our party and government will dismantle the two umbrella union bodies, and there will be one parade for the workers. An anti-corruption prosecutor will be appointed within the first 100 days to address the issue of corruption in our country, which has become a national pandemic. An anti-corruption commission will replace SOCU, the existing Special Organized Crime Unit, will be replaced by an anti-corruption commission which will operate independent of the Guyana Police Force. As you know, currently SOCU is being controlled by the Guyana Police Force. So with the Workers' Party and government, it will be replaced by an anti-corruption commission which will be independent, operating independently of the Guyana Police Force, along with an anti-corruption prosecutor. The first vacancy when the Workers' Party is elected into office will be a vacancy for an anti-corruption prosecutor. That vacancy will not be confined to Guyana, but will be confined to CARICOM. Will be open up for CARICOM, Commonwealth, ABC countries, and those from the European can apply for that vacancy as an anti-corruption prosecutor. An industrial relations tribunal, also known as a labor court, will be established within the first 100 days to address the labor issues among the working class of Guyanese. The Trade Union Amendment Act of 1997, which was amended in 2009, will come for review and, if possible, further amended to give trade unions and the movement, the working class movement, more autonomy and power to represent the workers. A commission of inquiry will be established into the 2016 globally condemned PSA production sharing agreement with the then government of the PNC, led APNU, and its Alliance for Change coalition partner. So a commission of inquiry, as you know, the then subject minister said he felt pressured, and even in his book he wrote, he said he felt pressured in accepting 2%. The people of Guyana need to know what were the contributing factors as to why he felt pressured in accepting 2%. So a commission of inquiry will be established when the Workers' Party in government to get down to the bottom of it, to know exactly if there were external interferences in our country's internal affair, or if it was members of his own government pressured him to accept because he said he felt pressured, and we need to know what are the contributing factors for him being felt pressured. So commission of inquiry will be held. The United Workers' Party position on the following will be known in the coming weeks and months. Ring fencing, independent meters at the pump, full insurance coverage, and a petroleum oversight body. When in office, the following villages will become towns or given municipality status: Great Diamond on the East Bank, Region 4, Breeding Hoop on the West Coast of the Amara, Region 2, and Parika in Region 3, Essequibo Islands. Duty and tax-free on parts and engines and fuels for public transportation providers is coming with the intentions of reducing the cost of public transportation. So duty-free and tax-free on engine parts and fuel, subsidizing fuel prices. The Stabroek to Breeding Hoop water taxi service will become 24 hours of service and will be free to the traveling public.